Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer and I'm here to build a model kit. I'm also here to hang out with all of you. And I'm going to start things off by throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you're not yet a subscriber, you can say hi. You can use other people's emotes. If you feel like being a lurker, you can just go ahead and lurk. Also want to thank John for renewing their sub. Lockdown on our lockdown. So you can throw the Bear Cave Lego site Tier 2 blue emote. Also to thank John. Lashbrook's here. Hello, Lashbrook. John is, of course, here. 39 months. Thank you for so many months using your Prime Gaming token on little old me. It's a Saturday. And yeah, some stuff happens. We'll get into it. We'll talk about it. Happy Catterday. Indeed, it is Catterday. Or you know, if you don't celebrate, it's Saturday. Welcome. We will, of course, talk about some current event stuff and things of that nature. Good news. Weirdly good. Well. Good news, interesting news, slightly confusing news, like hopeful news, you know, all kinds of stuff, like better than I thought. Speaking, of course, about the future of GiantBomb.com, which seemed kind of up in the air. There were two worst case scenarios with what was going to happen with Giant Bomb. And neither of those is happening. And instead, a bit of good news that is confusing is happening. So that's great. That's excellent and weird. And we'll get into it and we'll talk about it. Let's go to the overhead camera before we get into that. As you can see, we're working on the EMS-10 Zudah. We take our good news to the side of confusion. Yeah, John. Yeah. We got the backpack on here, but because of the booster, the backpack makes the kit not set up right. So we'll take the backpack off for now. We got one arm. We have to panel on this arm. And as we panel on this arm, we will chat about the news. This story broke on, Lashbrook had already switched to GameBomb.ru. Well, that's your first mistake. Giant Bomb, is now owned and operated by Jeff Bakalar and Jeff Grubb. When you think of Jeffs, and you think of them, but it is still a funny thing. But yeah, Grubb and Bakalar bought Giant Bomb. This is a model from MS Igloo, yes. John, we talked about it on Thursday, but just to recap, this is from MS Igloo. This is from the OVA. The 3-part OVA that aired as part of the 25th anniversary of Gundam. It is one of the most obscure model kits that I have built. It does show up later. The Zudah does show up later in some Build Fighters and the Build series, but this original kit is from that. Yeah, it's very different. It's, you know, CGI. It originally was not available anywhere except for the Bandai Museum, which is just funny. And then eventually did make its way out there and people could see it. Had a limited DVD release and a larger release after that. But for a long time, you had to go to the museum to see it. And also, the first 2 episodes came out at the same time, and the third OVA came out much later. So I'm sure there were plenty of people that never saw the third one. Jeff and Jeff bought Giant Bomb. The name, the website, the archive, the billing system, I guess. All of that, the wiki, I should say, clearly the wiki. All of that is now owned by Jeff and Jeff. Dan, Jan, and Mike are all co-owners as well. It is a 5-person owner-operated product. They are not going the archives for sure, the wiki for sure. Backups were happening of a lot of that stuff. They were in the process of getting a lot of that done, independent backups and all that. But yes, they have control of that. Memberships are going up to $10 a month, with the understanding that those memberships go directly now to the 5 of them, plus whoever they pay. I can imagine that they will be going fully YouTube without outside of podcasts instead. But I can't imagine their videos are going to be going up, except for, I guess, their videos that are going to go up that are, well, unlisted videos for that, but whatever. But they'll have to have membership exclusives as well, or timed exclusives. And then it becomes a question of like, how does that work? How do you do that? How do you make that happen? How do you have employees? How do you have, who helps Jan? Because they now own a website and they have to maintain and operate a website. How does that fucking work? All those, there are a lot of questions, I'm sure. Questions they don't have answers to. In many instances, I'm fairly positive. But yeah, it's like, okay, well then, who do you hire? How do you hire them? What are you hiring in? They have access to the merch store, all this stuff. Like, there's a bunch of things right now. Some email stuff hasn't been fully figured out, so they got to figure that stuff out. But yeah, the panel served as this week's podcast, so that goes up because there was not a podcast this week. It sounds like this was a thing that was the Jeffs described it as they were having meetings and they paint fandom in a light that I wouldn't, but that's because I don't have to wait for the ink to dry on anything, because I'm not associated with that anyway. But my assumption, if I'm going to put my speculation hat on right now, I have had zero conversations with any of these people about these things. I have no insight into these things at all. But I can make assumptions based on my own dealings with corporate entities, my conversations previously with them, with the previous employees of fandom, and corporations prior to that. My assumption is that a person above Bacalar's new boss, but when he was still an employee of fandom, was just like, you're fucking us. What are you doing? Not to Giant Bomb, to that person that just came into this, that by enforcing rules that other people didn't enforce, realized, oh, we're taking a lot of heat for this, and we don't need to take heat for this because this isn't even a thing we want. Like, we got this because we bought other things. Why are we going to get heat for a thing that we don't care about? And the idea that, and again, that's my conjecture. That is my opinion on what I know of people, and corporate entities. Because, yeah, it's surprising. It is surprising to me that that offer was made by either party and accepted by the other party, that this was a thing that happened, that an agreement was made, that the site and the assets and the name and all of that were sold. That is a wild thing to consider. And then to wonder, like, okay, like they have, yeah, it is a strange thing to consider, because Giant Bomb has never been owned and operated solely by its employees, because obviously the founding members of Giant Bomb had their names and they had to sign off on things to happen, but it was still a whiskey media venture. It was still a startup. It was still Jeff Gerstmann approached about a thing from old CNET people to be like, this is the thing that we're building. We have this other thing. We've got these people. What if some people left, their jobs and came here? What would you do with that? Don't become a guy that does reviews, internal reviews for companies, and instead do this. Or don't go into radio or whatever the offers Jeff was getting. Um, and then Gersman specifically. And then, you know, sold, and then sold, and then sold. And it's like, okay. And then what does that mean now that it's been sold again, but to like 2 guys who then brought in 3 other guys? And I don't know what that means. I can tell you that they plan to upload a lot of paywalled stuff to YouTube. That will be like things that like that are appropriate for like, oh, okay, well, it's not behind this paywall here because, you know, this is related to this game or that kind of thing. I don't know what exclusives will be out there. I don't know if they're going to do early podcasts or podcast or whatever. They have to figure all that stuff out. It is a cool problem to have. I would say, here's the thing. It's really interesting. And it's kind of a happy ending. And I made this joke, and this joke is crass and maybe even sardonic, and I understand if it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I'll say it because I'm kind of spitballing my thoughts right now. Now, when Giant Bomb dies, they'll be the ones to kill it. They'll put it into the ground, and not a corporate entity, which is better and worse. And it's a strange thing because it means that now the curators, if I want to be the most generous version that I can, my first response to a friend was start the countdown clock on the next corporate sale. Well, that's the thing, right? Dan already passed the buck on saying that it's our fault if it dies. But yes. So one could assume that if they collectively wanted to get out of this, they could sell it to somebody to get backing and all of that. But it now exists because of their combined efforts and supportive community. There is, I did miss a couple pieces here. I just realized I missed a couple pieces. But there is a thing. There is a thing that if I'm going to be the most generous possible I can be about the future and the least pragmatic and the least like pessimistic that I can be, I will say that the legacy of Ryan Davis now lays in the hands of 5 people and not a corporation. And that makes me feel better than I did yesterday. And what that leads to, where they go, what they do with it. Fandom does not own the content made by Ryan Davis anymore. From Giant Bomb. From GameSpot, they still do, of course. But anything that Ryan Davis made as part of Giant Bomb is now owned by Jeff and Jeff, and then Dan and Jan and Mike. And that makes me feel good. I am happy to have that thought, and it did occur to me. Yeah, Lashbrook, I'm also surprised. If you had said to me that Bacalar and Mike and Dan and Jan were going to start a Patreon and do YouTube videos and podcasts, I would have said, yeah, they should do that. Or that Jan got hired to work at GameSpot and was staying around and they had to hire a new person. Or that Dan was starting at AEW, revitalizing their podcast network instead of just one podcast. That they're going to have a fleet of podcasts, and Dan is in charge, and Dan is taking over, making sure that the AEW Games video stuff looks better than it does now, and all that. Be like, yeah, sure. Dan got out of games again. Okay. But you told me that Bacalar was keeping his job at within fandom and was moving up on the corporate ladder there. I'd be like, yeah, okay. But if you told me that Giant Bomb was going to get sold to guys that worked at Giant Bomb, that I would not have believed that as a possibility. Yeah, John, I mean, there's probably somebody looking at it going, we didn't even want this. We don't know what this is. We're not even sure if we really want, like, we wanted game facts. We didn't want this, like, whatever it is that they were thinking in this moment. Like, I don't know. I don't have that information. I can't tell you, oh, they were thinking of this, like with that. Like, I don't know what they're thinking when they decided the best course of action was to sell. But like I said, my gut says, of anything, that there was not going to be a solution that was going to work out. Like, think about this. You can close it down. You can fire everybody and hire new people. Or you can sell it. And somebody would buy the Giant Bomb wiki, the wiki tech. Somebody would buy that, probably. But then they have to find someone to buy it. And now fandom gets... Here's the thing. At the end of the day, fandom has a press release, a joint press release with Giant Bomb and fandom, where they're saying, we're all about fans and we're doing it for the fans. And again, this is conjecture on my part. I do not mind speaking on assumptions and conjecture when it comes to corporate entities. I draw the line at people. But when it comes to corporate entities, great. Jeff Grubb saying nice things about fandom at the start of that podcast feels like a contractual obligation. And again, that is conjecture about the state of business, not about a person or people's plans or anything like that. I am just saying, it feels like part of the pitch was, you sell it to us, you don't have to worry about this anymore, and you sound like people that really care about your community more than anything else. Yes. Yeah, it feels like an option. Like I said, it is surprising. It is surprising it came together as quickly as it did. It is surprising that is this the right piece? This is A42. Oh, this is not the right piece. I don't know what piece this is, but I pulled it out wrong. And the A42, that's over here. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong piece because I was busy yapping. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm making conjecture. I don't know. The joint statement says a press release says fandom sells Giant Bomb to independent creators. Jeff Bacalar and Jeff Grubb take full ownership and operations of gaming media brand. San Francisco, California. Fandom, the world's largest fan platform, is selling Giant Bomb to longtime Giant Bomb staff and gaming content creators Jeff Bacalar and Jeff Grubb. Financials of the deal were not disclosed. Giant Bomb's programming, which was paused in order to work out the terms of this deal, will resume as quickly as possible. More details will communicate soon by Giant Bomb's new owners. And then fandom makes a statement, and once again calls them longtime staff and content creators. Fans at the core of everything we do at fandom, blah, blah. Natural extension of that mission. Confident Giant Bomb is in good hands with Legacy and will live on with Jeff and Jeff. And then there's a joint statement from the Jeffs, the Jeffs of Giant Bomb. I'll say more when it looks like soon. And then they have a webpage on giantbomb.com/join, which you are more than welcome to go and peruse at your leisure. They're moving it up to $10 a month for memberships. And now they're gonna have to figure out how to do all that. Do I think that Jeff Bacalar can figure out how to run a company financially? Yeah, I think Jeff has a good head on his shoulders and can figure that stuff out. I think I would say that is possible. Do I think Jan can run a website and podcasts and streams by himself? Fuck no, I don't think that. They better fucking help out Jan. They better all fucking pull their weight and help out Jan with all of that stuff. Several of them know how to stream on Twitch and upload to YouTube, and they better fucking help out Jan, is all I'm fucking saying, because that could be a make or break if they're not going to properly support that man in this project. But yeah, good on them. I don't know if any of them can troubleshoot a website. So good luck, I guess. We'll see what fucking happens. A41. But yeah, legitimately best of luck to all of them. It ain't gonna be the easiest thing in the world to do. But it's good news. When it switched from their panel that was when they were going to do Blight Club Live, and it became that panel, and it became clear that, you know, the crew was all going to be there. It did seem like some kind of announcement was going to get made. I was not one of the people that thought that they were going rogue, that Grub being there was something. And once again, I will say, while I don't know all the specifics, I can tell you that Dan Reichert saying that he would never appear on Giant Bomb stuff again, while an employee at Giant Bomb, I was like, okay. You know, there were a few things that I was like, oh, this is Dan being Dan, and like, you know, great because he's Dan, but also okay, Dan. Hey, Dan Reichert is one of the people that runs Giant Bomb now. Like, Dan, by all metrics and measures, is one of the owners of Giant Bomb. And that's a weird thing to say, but also sure. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, there's very few parts of this that I don't like, and that I'm, you know, it's like, okay, great. Good luck to all of them. I hope they fucking kill it. They're all great, and I look forward to seeing what's going on there. Yeah, it is I have not wrapped my head fully around it because it is a weird bit of business. But I am thrilled for them, and I hope things go well. And the transition will be weird. There will be some things that will be, I look forward to hearing them talk about the stuff that they were not prepared to break in weird ways, or to not work in weird ways, or to be strange in weird ways. I look forward to hearing about that stuff. The like, oh shit, well, that was a thing we didn't think about, because that's always part of the process. And I would be remiss if I did not also say that while it is fucking cool as hell that they have it, that they have the site and they have all of that, it's also very weird that they do. It's weird that it ended this way. That's it. That's all I really have to say. It's weird that this is how it went. That, like, as I said, the Giant Bomb is an independently owned project, website, and other business, that it is owned and operated by 5 people right now. That's a weird thing, and a good thing, for sure, but very weird. It's I probably it'll probably be a long time before I can say anything except how weird it is, because it is very strange. It's just a bizarre thing. Did I have any other thoughts that I wrote down? Going on YouTube, they bought in, yeah, co-owners, $10 memberships, $100 a year if you want to do that. I have said that I still contend that that the future of games, enthusiast press is not crowdfunding. And I don't know what the future is, but I don't think it's, I still contend that I do not think it is that. I think that it should be interesting to see what they do without these, gates and gating and all of that. And yeah, I don't know. It's a strange, weird thing. And I'm sorry if I don't have a lot of clear thoughts on it, but I was definitely surprised. Nathan just subscribed with Prime. That's 33 months. Let's throw the Bear Cave Lego Scythe Tier 2 Blue Emote in chat. Thank Nathan for the continued support. Thank you for using your Prime token, just like John did earlier. It was very kind of you. I'll throw some emotes into the chat. But yeah, not what I was expecting, folks. As I said, I was leaning more towards the everybody quit or was fired, and now there are new people, and like the Waypoint thing, like Waypoint is back and better than ever. The people who are being asked to work on contract at Polygon that are saying, hey, I got offered a Polygon job, that sucks, like right now, like the Husk, what was left of 1UP before they eventually decided they didn't want 1UP anymore, and all that when they closed UGO and laid off almost everybody and then brought in new people to work. There's like, I'm not the first, I won't be the last to talk about how fucking insane it was that a girl that briefly dated a guy that got laid off by 1UP got a job at 1UP in its last days. Like, what? That was insane. A girl that in GFW radio was, and then whatever it became after that, I can't remember. I think it was the RPG show or something, but it had like that, like an employee there had talked about talking to her because she was a GameStop employee, and then how they had gone and hung out and gone on a date or two. And then she was getting contract work from 1UP. And then he got laid off. And then most people got laid off. And then she got brought on. And it was like the weird forgotten dark days of the end of 1UP.com as it existed there. But yeah, I mean, like, that to me felt like the no-brainer. This is what's going to happen to this website. It's just going to someday, everyone we know that worked there will be gone. And it'll be whatever it is. And then, or the other thing was, it'll eventually they'll all just become GameSpot employees, and it will go away. And the subscription part of the business was the thing that was keeping it going. And then that eventually they just didn't want to do it anymore. And then it all just would revert back to that. And then eventually they would get sold again, because I don't think that GameSpot is done being sold, right? Like, I just don't think that. I think like that they're going to get sold again, because that's the nature of the beast. Like, when that happens, I don't know, but like, it feels like it will. It feels inevitable that it will get sold someday. And what it gets sold with, I don't know. But like, then it becomes like, okay, well, who's still at that site? Who moves to that site? Does anybody get to stay there when it gets sold the next time? And all that. yeah, it's all weird stuff. And my hope is that everybody does okay and they transition into being owner operators successfully, and that it works and that people are stoked about it. I think the sigh of relief that they were not having a wake for Giant Bomb like that, because that was certainly a thought of that panel, was like, is this the goodbye Giant Bomb panel? Like, what is this? What is that going to be? And so, yeah, again, pleasantly surprised and hopeful, I guess, is what I'll say there. And then, yeah, and then, you know, the sardonic thing of, when will it get sold? When will they sell to somebody? Because and then have to spin it as, oh, we're gonna be able to do so much more stuff now that we have the backing of these people and all of that stuff. Hopefully that won't happen, but it could. And then you support people as best you can. And it's like, I guess one thing I'll say is, like, I want to hear what model they're going to be. Like, are they going to try to just do giant, like they've said, oh, we want to have the couch and all of that. Like, I would say that is irresponsible. I'll say that from a fan perspective, a friend and fan perspective, I would say trying to do summer game stuff and having like a broadcast and guests and all of that seems risky. To do all that, you know, so soon after becoming independent. But that's me. I'm also incredibly risk averse myself, so I know that me saying that is not necessarily surprising to some people. But then it's like, okay, well, are you just Giant Bomb but independent, and some of what you could do without, you know, and figuring out that? Are you looking to take the kind of funny model? Or so that you're going to have a lot of activations and stuff like that, and sponsorships, and have members of that take you know, like as many corporate things as you can? Are you gonna go just like, okay, well, we're, you know, like, yeah, there's a website and we're happy about that, but also we're gonna pursue, you know, the YouTube video stuff and memberships and all of that, and like just kind of go what Nextlander's doing or what Jeff is doing? Like, they could go in they could change what Giant Bomb is if they wanted to. If they wanted to, they have it now. They could change it. They could make it something different if they so chose. I would not necessarily advise that, but they could. They could make the decision to go in a different direction and do something different with it, and see where that leads them. You know, the practicals of all of that are something that they have to figure out themselves. And I'm not here to tell them one way or the other. As I said, I can give my thoughts on it. But yeah, at the end of the day, they have to figure out what they're doing and what kind of site they're going to have, and all of that. Figure out all that stuff. It's like, good luck to them. You know, it's a lot. I'm sure there are a lot of things that are in the like unrealistic and realistic stages, and just kind of have to figure out from there. Yeah, it is cool and weird, and I'm sure like exciting, and for me anyway. And yeah, that's about it. That's about all my thoughts. I'm sure that I'll have more as I think about it. Yeah. Other things are happening in the world, and we'll talk about some other things that are going on in gaming and such. There are other news stories that we can report on and all that. Here's the thing that sucks. We'll talk about this thing that sucks. Crunchyroll has ended a service. Lord Crashington just subscribed at Tier 1, 70 months. Thank you very much, Lord Crashington. Let's throw the Bear Cave Lego site. Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. Thank Lord Crashington for the continued support. Appreciate you. Thank you for all that support. 70 is a lot of months. Crunchyroll had a library outreach program. Basically, a library could get an account with Crunchyroll, and for their library club, and they weren't paying for it. It was a free subscription, so you didn't see ads and you could access to everything, old stuff, because Crunchyroll at a certain point got rid of the you can watch this a week later with ads program that they had for a long time, but old stuff you could still look at without it and watch ads, and they got rid of that. And it looks like they are fully getting rid of that program for libraries. And also a reminder that when you have an account with Crunchyroll, it is for you. You can get a family plan, but in general it is for you. And libraries have to have permission to use services like that because a variety of people will be using that. In this case, it was an anime club purposes. And this is near and dear to my heart as a person that was members of several anime clubs and then also has a whole series called Pat Bear's Anime Club. I do have an interest in these things. And that's really frustrating, and it's a real bummer that this is happening. They explicitly stated I might not use their service for Anime Club at my library anymore. This is somebody posted on the Librarians subreddit. Our teen club is on Saturdays, and I had 2 pop-up anime cafe programs planned for the summer. Now, Viz Media, who doesn't Viz has a deal that you can get, so hopefully this person and other librarians are going to go into that. Swank and Canopy both don't really have much of an anime selection. They do have some anime stuff. It's a lot of movies, because those are things that libraries can license and all that. I do not believe that HIDIVE has a program like that. But Viz is unfortunately one of the only alternatives, because you can do a screen. Because again, this is a screener thing. This is not like, just like I had an account and whatever. And because like I said, a library has to go through certain things because it's part of the government. So they can't just have like if I ran an anime club, I would just use the accounts that I have on my personal account and screen stuff because it would be a certain number and I'm just a private person and I wouldn't advertise it. And then I would beg for forgiveness instead of asking for permission. Libraries can't do that. But it looks like they just are not going to continue to renew. There is a statement here. After careful review of our community outreach programs, we have made the tough decision to discontinue Crunchyroll's library outreach program in its current form. The change comes to community outreach efforts evolve, and we are identifying alternative strategic ways to better deliver broad access to Crunchyroll service to anime fans everywhere. Which is like, shut up! You don't have to say all this shit. Just say we're not doing it. And then also mentions they have that. Yeah. And of course, they're for private use and not part of public screenings. So basically, one of their answers is, you could just have people pay for an account, which is like, fuck off. That's not what we were talking about. Yeah. basically they were considered gifted accounts, and they're just not going to get renewed. So the ones that are still gifted just won't be able to be renewed, which is a shame. It's a bummer. This is, again, I should say this when we talk about Crunchyroll. It is always a good reminder to say we are not talking about Crunchyroll, the website that started as a torrent of anime and grew in nature and became a real thing and started licensing and became a real place and all of that. We're not talking about that startup, passion project startup. We are talking about a company that was bought by Sony and merged with Funimation. And until HIDIVE or another service becomes big, these things will just dry up and will change because there is no competition. Netflix pulls a couple shows a season. Amazon, internationally, Amazon Prime still pulls some stuff, but in America, they only pull like one or two things. Obviously, they invested in the Gundam series, but they're not strategically going after a bunch of things. It's more of a one-off. And, you know, HIDIVE is owned by AMC, but is not necessarily like poised to, it's still boutique. It is not poised to take over or, steal a lot of stuff from Crunchyroll and be a big player in that field and be competitive. And that's unfortunately what is needed. Because you could say, like, look, kids don't have access to credit cards, but they want to watch anime. And if they're part of an anime club at their library, parents, I'll say this, friends. Most parents, I shouldn't say just blanket, most parents love the idea of their kid on a Saturday going to the library, even if it's to watch anime with their friends. Going to the library on a Saturday is unbelievable for parents. And then the kids can learn that. And then again, when it is a thing of there's competition in the world of anime and subs and dubs and all that, then you can look at it and go, okay, well, now it's a good marketing. This is a good thing for start because then they're watching the stuff we like, and then when they're older, they'll associate Crunchyroll with anime and they'll come see us. Now that they're the only game in town, with minor exceptions, they don't have to worry about that. It's a shame. It's a big shame. But like, unfortunately, I'm not super surprised. But yeah, I saw that floating around this week and bummed me out. But that is, again, one of the problems of allowing Sony to buy Crunchyroll is that this shit happens. And it's fucking sucks. But it's unfortunately one of the side effects for that is just the opportunity to be really fucking shitty about it, and do the wrong thing. It's frustrating. I mean, who knows if this was a Crunchyroll thing or a Doge thing? Lashbrook, no, that's no. This is Crunchyroll. This is specific. Like, I just read their press release about it. This is not a library program ending. This is Sony deciding that 100, 200, 300 free accounts to libraries is not something they want to do anymore because they don't have to be nice like that, because they don't have competition in the marketplace, so they don't have to try to appeal to young people who will then eventually want to get their own Crunchyroll accounts when they can afford it, or get their parents to get a Crunchyroll account. This has nothing to do with the federal government. This is a corporation who, under a previous regime, should not have been allowed to become to create a monopoly in the subs and dubs world, which they did. They should not have been allowed to, and it fucking sucks that they were allowed to do that. But yeah, no, this is not a program that gets killed. This was Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll wasn't getting subsidized for doing this. I mean, I've talked about this before. I had a free premium Crunchyroll account for a year and a half, 2 years, because I had a friend working at Crunchyroll who got a stipend from the company for that, to give it to people who would watch stuff and talk about it. I was not directly paid with an account so that I would talk about it on stream, but a person who worked for Crunchyroll at the time realized that I talked about anime a lot, and it would be good if I talked about the anime they made. That was way before a merger happened. Way before that. Also, that was VRV. That was Verve, who was that was Crunchyroll. That was a part of Crunchyroll's attempt to move to go beyond anime. They thought that might be the future, so that was what Verve was supposed to be, that solution. So I technically had a free account with Verve, not with Crunchyroll, but it was the same thing, and I could use it on Crunchyroll. And I just did because they didn't have stuff on there they wanted to watch. They got a bunch of stuff here and there, but nothing that I was really super into. On the hell yeah, go for it front, Blizzard Team 4, which includes almost 200 developers, has unionized. That's the Overwatch team. Blizzard's Overwatch team has unionized. Of course, Overwatch 2, when I'm saying that. Art, testing, engineering, design. Basically, anyone that is not a manager that works on Overwatch is now part of a union. Communication Workers of America. Overwhelming majority of workers have either signed a union authorization card or indicated that they wanted union representation via an online portal. Now, should say that Microsoft, because of merger stuff, has had a quote-unquote hands-off, like they have not actively fought unions, but they also are incredibly slow to recognize unions and to meet people at the bargaining table. So while they have been, in general, not aggressively against unions, it's hard to read these, so I make this larger. All right, that's this one. Okay, the one on the end is going to go on a piece of the gun. For whatever reason, they want me to make the gun that's going to go on this hand now instead of at the end. I don't know why they do that, but that is what they do. So I'll find B12, and then I will put that sticker on B12. But yeah, so hopefully they will recognize it soon. They will come to the table in good faith for contract negotiations. It'll be that whole thing. But I love that. Congratulations to those folks. Yeah, but Microsoft has been accused of being really slow in the actually getting contracts signed and meeting in good faith and all of the things that you should be doing. They have been reportedly not fucking great at that. So hopefully they get their heads out of their asses and meet in good faith. And they talked about layoffs and reasons why and all these things. And they're worried about layoffs and job security and direction of the company and all those many things. So makes sense. Congratulations to them. I hope it goes super well. Yeah, not much else to say about that. Hopefully Microsoft meets them at the bargaining table and progress is made. All right, I got a sticker on. Feel good about that. Let's build the rest of this gun. We will take a pause for the cause in a few moments to talk about other things going on and ways you can support the channel and all that stuff. Collision happened on Thursday, so I don't have to rush out of here to go watch that with friends, which is what I normally do on a Saturday night. So I can be a little more, just a slight, tiny bit more loosey-goosey. Lord Crashin wants me to dance button, and I will. Thank you for using your channel points for the dance button. Here's the dance button. Thank you. Boom, boom. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Any other news stuff? Pocket Pair, the makers of Pal World, are making some changes to Pal World due to the ongoing Nintendo and Pokemon lawsuit. Pocket Pair has rolled out more changes to Pal World. After today's patch, players will need to equip a glider to glide, whereas before, it was possible to use certain pals to glide. The creature will still provide passive buffs from inside the player's inventory. These changes are necessary in order to prevent further disruptions to development of Pal World. On November 30th, 2024, you may remember, there was a change in Pal World where patch ability to summon pals by throwing pal spheres, which then became a static summoning next to the player instead. And apparently that was part of the lawsuit, which they didn't at that time they didn't say, oh, because of this lawsuit we're gonna fucking change this thing about Pal World. But this time around they kind of did. And they said everyone here Pocket World or Pocket Pair should say were disappointed that the adjustment had to be made. Fully understand that many players feel the same frustration. Do they? Unfortunately, as an alternative would have led to even greater deterioration of the gameplay experience for players, this change was necessary. Basically, it seems like as much as they said we're going to fight this, they are making concessions so they don't have to fight it. Which, you know, I am not here to say the merits of this case by Nintendo. I will say that if I was being sued by Nintendo in Japan, I would do whatever the fuck I needed to do to make that go away. That's just my personal opinion. That I would say that if I was being sued by Nintendo in Japan, I would consider having that not be the case as much as possible. We got one more gun we can build here, and then the shield thing. I'm just gonna, because we have it right now, I'm just gonna build the hand that needs to go on here because I want to have the top half of this kit done. See. We need, then we'll take a pause for the call. Let's talk about ways you can support the channel. We'll talk about some anime I've been watching and gaming and what people have been up to, because I always like to hear from you about that stuff in the second hour. I felt bad that we got a raid on Thursday from Puppet Jared's stream, and I was not, because it was Thursday, because I had stuff to do that I couldn't stick around for longer. I felt bad about that, but it was nice. It's always nice when Jake raids. It's just a really nice thing that he does that. I very much, for real, really appreciate it that he's still looking out. I was just very kind of him. Because also I think that a lot of people that watch his stuff would like what I do here, be into it. there are still people out there that don't know that people make model kits, their simple model kits and such on streams, and that is a thing that they would be into, and they don't know it exists. So it's nice when they can find out that we're a thing, that we're up to shit, and we're here and we're doing it and all that. How do you come together? Hand? I'm going to try to put this together lightly here first, and then, okay, so it goes like that. Okay. You go like that. You go over here. There are dozens of us, says Lord Crashing. Indeed. Yeah, you know, we're small but mighty over here. Hopefully in June, I will be making a few appearances in other places. The goal is to promote my subathon that'll happen next month, my birthday subathon, and then to promote Plastic Model Weekender, which I assume I will be picked to do, but I am going ahead with trying to promote that with the understanding that, like, even if I don't get picked to do it this year, I still want to promote the thing because I love Plastic Model Weekender, and I want it to succeed. So I will still promote it even if they don't end up using me, and they have just like a lot of new big talent that they want to showcase or whatever. But I assume I'll get to do it. But it is one of those things where I'm like, oh, there's a chance they'll be like, we're good. All right, we got a big gun to build, and the last of the regular easy stickers to put on that. And then we also have a shield with some weapons that need to go on there, and we'll build that as well. But we got a gun on this arm, and we will do that in a bit. Right now is the time where I'm going to talk to you about ways that you can support the channel and what I do here. Everything I'm about to tell you is optional. You are under no obligation to do this. If you would like to, I would appreciate it. But again, you don't have to. First and foremost, if you're currently a subscriber to the Build with Baer Workshop, you can throw the Baer Cave, the Lego, the Scythe, the Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. Being a subscriber is legitimately, no joke, the easiest way to support what I do here through Cash Money or your Prime Gaming token. You can be like Lord Crashton and use the Cash Money, or Nathan and John and use your Prime token. Very much appreciate that. If you would like to support me financially, that would be great. You don't have to, but you can. I'm going to talk about ways you can do it that are obviously optional. Now, again, the easiest way to do it is here. You could gift a sub to somebody in the community. We're currently at 25 subscribers. The goal is to get to 40. I shut up about how many subscribers I have when I hit 40. So if you want to become a subscriber, you could do that. That is, again, another way to help me out here. Gift a sub like John did. Bits and coins, always appreciated. Again, you could support me that way if you wanted to. I have a Patreon at patreon.com/PatBaer. Over on my Patreon, there is a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards for the different tiers. Consider joining me on Patreon. It is something that you could do if you wanted to. Right now, my $3, $5, and $10 patrons can vote on what I'm doing on Tuesday. I got to promote that a little bit more within the Patreon here. Because currently, right now, me watching wrestling is winning the poll. Pat watches wrestling. So that currently is winning the poll, but we'll see. Maybe more people will vote. And suddenly, out of nowhere, one of the other categories will suddenly pop up. Let's see. I have a YouTube channel that you could subscribe to for free, of course. My YouTube is youtube.com/PatBaer. Over my YouTube channel, you can subscribe for free, of course. And then if you wanted to, you can become a member. And for just $2 a month, you can jump in there. And then it works out pretty good that for just $2 a month, you get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. So you'll see this month in May on Kuma Baer, I'm talking about my favorite shows from the 2000s. And you'll know what the next one is that I want to talk to you about. You can watch that there. Let's see. Trash that. I don't need that anymore. Got that. Those are all monthly ways to support me financially. If you just want to throw something into the tip jar, I have a Ko-Fi and a PayPal, and you can do that. Everything I make through direct donations through YouTube, which includes AdSense, so watching my videos helps you out, through Patreon and through Twitch, all goes into a fund. And from that fund, I pull money out to buy model kits. I have a backlog of stuff. This kit is from my backlog. The EMS-10 Zudah is from the backlog. I am thrilled to be working on that kit. I will have another poll up soon for my $10 patrons to decide what I'm building next. If you want to decide what I'm doing next, you the individual want to decide what I'm building next, you can always go to, oh, that's YouTube. That's wrong. That's the wrong one. You can go to my Amazon wish list. If you buy something from my wish list, it jumps the queue and becomes the next thing that I build on stream. So if you have an inkling that you'd like to see me once again do another Magic the Gathering jigsaw puzzle, you could buy that. I got Lego sets, I got model kits, inexpensive kits, expensive kits. I recently added the Zaku 1. I've built the Zaku 1 before, but not this Zaku 1. If you want to see the old school Zaku and have me build that, I recently added that to the wish list. I got inexpensive kits, expensive kits, kits that go on sale all the time. Again, some recent additions. Pretty recently, I added the 3-in-1 pink flamingo Lego set. That would be fun to build. And I'm looking about, here we go. This is a newish kit. The Lightning Buster Gundam. That is from Gundam Seed Freedom, the movie for Gundam Seed. It is the advanced version of the Buster Gundam, which is one of my favorite Gundam from all of Gundam Seed, and is the modified version of that. That looks great. It's kind of heavy arms-ish. That kit is on my wish list. If you want me to put that together, you could pick that up off that, and I'll build that. As again, recently added to the wish list. Yeah, I got all kinds of things I would be happy to put together here. Oh, I also recently added the Dual Blitz Gundam, which is I love the Blitz Gundam. I don't necessarily love the Dual Blitz. I feel like it made it less like a Death Scythe and more of its own thing, which is to me a negative. It's got a nice light purple color to it, but I think it lost some of its, this is just a cool Death Scythe variant, you know? I don't know. It's got big shoulders, and I don't dislike that. But yeah, if you see something there on the wish list you'd like to see me put together, you could buy it. Jumps the queue, make a dedicated YouTube video about the thing that you purchased, all of that stuff. I have an alternative to Amazon, which is Throne. So you can take a look at that list, see if there's something there you'd like to see me put together. And of course, the most convoluted way to support me financially is to go to USA Gundam Store. At USA Gundam Store, you will be able to buy a gift card. You will get sent an email with a gift card code. Then you can use that gift card code to send to me and a private message or a whisper on Twitch, or a private message on Twitter or Blue Sky or Mastodon. Yeah, it's a way to do that. And then I will use that gift card code to buy something from USA Gundam Store. Support a local business. They're not local to me, in so much so as South Carolina and Florida are kind of close, but you know what I mean, a small business. Hey, if you have a shop that you buy model kits from, maybe go buy a model kit from them. Go see what's up. Go say hi. Put your face in there. They're not, nobody's doing great, and that they are included in that. If you want to support me financially, or you want to support me but you can't do it financially, you don't want to, yeah, join my Discord. That's free. That's a way to support me for free, if you'd like to do that. Pat Baer's Anime Club is a video series that I make. I'll have a new episode out on Monday, the most recent episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club. Well, we just got gifted a bunch of subs, and we'll talk about that in a second. That episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club, I would love for you to check that out. That is a lovely episode where I talk about some of my favorite shows that are happening right now this anime season. Thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs from Umjan. And welcome to Dustin Forrester and Slammy79 and Wacky Duder and Little Teton and Kuma 3. Welcome. Enjoy your gifted subs. Thank you very much. We're currently at 30 subscribers. The goal is to get to 40. I shut up about how many subscribers I have when I have 40. Thank you very much, Umjan. Let's throw the Bear Cave Lego site, tier 2 blue emote in chat. Thank Umjan for all that. But thank you very much for the gifted subs. Top of the leaderboard to you. And then one last video for me to promote. This most recent Kuma Baer is already the best Kuma Baer episode I've had this season, or this year, I should say, and viewership, and is in the top 3. And that is a video about Bleach, the anime Bleach, which has a new version, or not version, continuation happening now, and had many, many episodes in the past. It's one of my favorite anime from the 2000s. It's got this, like, 1 foot in the anti-hero shonen protagonist and 1 foot in the good boy, nice guy shonen protagonist thing. There's a plethora of characters. It's a fantastic show and funny and weird, which is always nice to see. And yeah, I just really like the show. So check out my 1-minute talk about how good Bleach is. And then come along with me as we talk about some other anime that's modern anime here. Adam says, I must say the vibes tonight are absolutely immaculate. Giant bomb forever. Indeed, Adam. Giant bomb forever indeed. Yeah. We talked about it at the beginning of the stream. It is a happy ending. It's those 5 people are taking on a huge undertaking, and I am I look forward to hearing how that goes and seeing how that goes. But it is not a whimper. It is not a revamp under new people, a faceless version of it, like how for a while there, the people that owned Screened and Anime Vice and Tested, Baron Bond, started using youtube.com/Anime Vice with like people. Like, Anime Vice came back from the dead, and I don't know if anybody knew that, but they did bring Anime Vice back and acted like it was a new thing that had never existed in any way, shape, or form before that, and it was really fucking weird. But yeah, I was expecting the revamp with a bunch of people you've never heard of. Or yes, Zombie Waypoint. We did mention that earlier, how Waypoint is back, I guess, just for SEO purposes mostly. Or what Polygon will be in the future with nobody who was at Polygon. Back in quotation marks, yes. I assumed that there would be a new Giant Bomb and it would be nothing that anybody that loves Giant Bomb was interested in, but a few people that just like websites would be okay with. Or that it would just have faded away and become part of GameSpot and just become another thing. And again, we're not going to rehash all this stuff, but the legacy and of the era of Giant Bomb of Ryan Davis is now controlled by a guy that worked with Ryan Davis. And that's like, I don't know, nice. That's nice. That's the best word for it. That Dan has some control over the written and video and audio legacy of Ryan Davis makes me happy. Just happy to know that fandom doesn't own that era of a man. Makes me happy to know that. You know, just something to be positive about when it felt like that was not going to be the fucking case. And again, where they take it, how they manage it, how those 5 people are going to fucking be able to handle all of that is up in the air. but it's up in the air because of those folks and what they choose to do with it and how they are going to run it. And how a 5-person company like that exists, where they are spread out across the country. How's that work? You know, but that's future problems for those fine folks to figure out, and they get to figure that out, and that's cool. That's fun and cool. I am going to drink some water, and we're going to dramatically transition back to the overhead camera and talk about anime, but we'll keep some good feelings in our heart as we do that. But I'll play the dramatic transition music right now. John just redeemed the dance button. If you're unfamiliar, I have a button that I hit, and then a new song plays every month. Not every stream, every month. That would be very annoying if I had to do that. But yeah, a song plays, I'll dance a little bit, and your channel points get used for something. Thanks. And I gotta pull out this thing here because I gotta build a big gun. Yes, John, that would be ridiculous. That would be a part-time job of me going through all of the music that is available to me, and like every stream having to like figure out which one I just used and all that. As it is, I probably recycled some songs here and there. I just go through the Elgato Stream Deck thing and look at genres, and sometimes I can find new stuff. Most of the time I'm just going through genre and then picking some songs and putting them in there. And I'll probably pick songs that I've used before, because my memory is not that good. And I should have, when I started doing that, I guess I should have written down the names of the songs I used every month, and I didn't do that. And I don't regret that I didn't do that, but I probably should have done that. Oh, one thing I didn't talk about here, we'll talk about in the second hour, is I finally, I did the thing that I've been saying. I backed up my work. So we'll talk about that after we talk about some anime. But I did do the thing that I am, in fact, practicing what I preach. So before that, though, we got to talk about some anime. Episode 6 of Once Upon a Witch's Death. I had to check after this news, but the fandom thread on GB forums was locked by Marino after the announcement. Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, onwards and upwards. And also, again, as I said before, you gotta give time while the ink dries. Before you start talking about stuff, it's always a good idea to let the fucking ink dry. And then you can say stuff that's on your mind. You want to let the ink dry. You want to dot your I's, and you want to have a clean thing, and you want anything that needs to transfer to get transferred and not worry about it and all of that. And so you just like fucking chill on some stuff. And then later, when you don't have to worry about some things, you can then start talking about stuff if you wanted to. But you want to just give it room and time to breathe. I need D4. Generally, I would say that. Some of the best advice I could is just like, I don't know, let the ink dry before you start talking. Once Upon a Witch's Death, as I said, is episode 6. Episode 6 is fucking kind of wild on this one. If you haven't been watching this show, it is about a girl named Meg who has a year left to live. And she is dealing with that fact as best she can. She is a witch's apprentice, and she is currently dealing with the fact that she needs to collect a bunch of tears of joy. If she collects enough of them before the year is up, then she can live. And we have time dashed a bit here. We are now in episode 6, but we have had somewhat of a time dash. And she has collected 40 tears of joy and 10 that are mixed, so they're not of any use to her. And while we weren't watching, while this time skip happened, Meg has gotten kind of shitty about it. She can now identify which people are most likely to cry tears of joy. And Faust kind of figures this out, and she is very unhappy with this because what's kind of happening right now is that our girl Meg has just kind of becomes like someone who targets people. She's not solving problems to solve problems and to help people. She's doing it for the tears. And she admits that she's just like, she's been targeting women and children and salarymen who because she basically like says like, yeah, I figured out there were some people that by just being nice to them, that would happen, which is, and she starts to realize, oh, fuck, that's a really bad way to look at things. And basically, like, her mistress is just kind of like bummed that she's not, that this is like the reality of it. This is the way she's feeling about these things. So Meg goes out and she runs into somebody who thanks her, and this is a young mother, and Meg can't remember who this is. This person's tear does not register in her brain as something that she helped with. She doesn't remember her name. She kind of has to fake it. And eventually she remembers, I repaired a watch that was a gift from this woman's deceased mother-in-law. Okay. And she's like, oh yeah, all right. And at the time that did mean something to her, but she had kind of forgotten about it because she's got a lot on her plate, and she was about helping people, or she was about helping a lot of people she could. And she's just like, oh wow, yeah, I've been manipulating people. And I will say this, this is a really striking, good episode. And I was surprised about how great this episode was, but mostly I was surprised because it's episode 6, and I thought this would be a late stage revelation and not a midpoint in the season revelation that is like, oh shit, I've been going about this the wrong fucking way, and I'm taking it for granted and all of that. And I was just like, oh wow, okay, we're going there now. Cool. Good, but I was surprised. And she's like, I have to do better. So she ends up just helping out this woman who's trying to go up some stairs. She doesn't even use magic to do it. She just does it. She had been relying on magic to fix all her problems, and that's also a lesson that she was supposed to be learning, I guess. And so she just helps to help without using magic. Or expecting like to resolve a problem and get a tear for it. She just does it just to be helpful. And from this older woman, she learns that Meg has a nickname in the town. This town of Lapis is referring to her as the Witch of Lapis. She got herself a nickname, which is very important for witches, and she earned it by just being a good person. Which is like a fun little end of the episode thing. And apparently her Faust, her is proud of her, and that's nice. That even if she was doing it for ulterior motives, she was still helping people, and they still are grateful to her. So, as again, this was a fucking episode 6, and it was way it's I know it's weird for me to say that a show that is about a girl who is close to being, like a show that is about a girl who might die in a year it is nice to say like, oh, okay, this is like a real tender moment in a show that does have its darkness, but is also kind of light on occasion. Yeah, I was very taken with this episode, and happy to check it out. Dizzy asks, is this a safe space for potential hot anime takes? I want to like Lazarus more than I do, and it's kind of a bummer. So we'll talk about the Lazarus on Monday, the next episode of Lazarus. But look, I've been saying this. Lazarus is purely vibes. It is just vibes, but I am liking the vibes. It is not deep. There is not depth to it. I don't know if I would I would like to watch it subtitled again in the future. I would probably like to watch the whole thing subbed. But I am just kind of watching episode 6 while watching Pat, and I'm enjoying the Lazarus vibes. Yeah, for the most part, I just like, again, we'll talk about it on Monday. I'm just there for the ride. I like the dumb names. I mean, and again, last episode, I'm going to dig into my notes because I can't remember what the fucking name of that character was, which is a shame, but I'm bad at character names. What was the name? Popcorn Wizard. The hacker named Popcorn. Like, Popcorn Wizard isn't even one of the best dumb names in that show, but it's real good. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't need this to be the next Cowboy Bebop. I don't need this to be the next gateway anime that I say, well, if you have a cable subscription, you go to Adult Swim's website if you want to know about good anime. Like, it does. Lazarus doesn't have to be that for me, but I can also understand why people would be disappointed because it just looked so fucking cool, and it might just be flashy. Like, I don't hate Lazarus, but if it wasn't on Toonami, I probably wouldn't be seeking it out. On a sliding scale of Toonami produced animes, it's very near the top. Sure, totally. Same universe as Radical Edward, yeah. But like, I mean, to me, that's the vibe. That's how I've personally been feeling it. Is just like, Lazarus is pretty good, and I wish it was better, but I'm okay that it's not better. And also, it could stick the landing. I think the fight scenes are readable, which is always fucking nice. I think the humor is a hit or miss, but I think the vibes are just really good, and I am interested in seeing what comes of it, like where it goes, how it wraps up, and all of that. And again, I said I would like to see this show subtitled instead of dubbed, and so I will probably seek that out at some point to try to watch the subtitled version. But I don't know. There's a lot of hell potential and zero follow through shows between Big O and Lazarus. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah. Again, I feel like I'm going to come back to my thoughts on Lazarus as it kind of wraps up and we see where it's going, because this could be something pretty phenomenal, or it could be a real dud. Yeah, I mean, like, hey, and I like FLCL progressive, Fooly Cooly progressive. I like progressive more than most people do. I didn't really love grunge, but I liked progressive more than I would say some people out there. And at the end of the day, new FLCL just met a paycheck for seatbelts and or sorry, the pillows. What am I saying? Not seatbelts, the pillows. My apologies. If the pillows can get a payday, then I'm on board for it. This is my feeling on it. Also, they did is Grunge the Tower one, the 3D one, or the girl headphones one? Yes, they finally retired. I'm happy for them. I'm glad they got to do more FLCL. They have some interviews when Progressive came out. They have some interviews that was really fun. about like how the director heard them and wanted them to submit some music, and they were like, sure, whatever. And then it was just like, oh, they don't want any changes and they want more music. And wait, this is a very popular anime. Oh, wait, the anime is kind of just an advertisement for our band. And then when they did, this was, I didn't get to see this. I think it was like 2019, maybe 2020, maybe 21 probably, if not 20. Not 20, probably 21 or 18. They did Gramercy in New York City. And it was just like, they said, like, basically, they opened the show by saying, thanks everybody for still thinking about us, or something to that effect, which just is like, yeah, there's still guys who are just like, I don't know, we're a rock band and forever associated with a cool thing. It's neat. Let's talk about episode 6 of Rock is a Lady's Modesty. Now, Annie Chart is not counting Rock is a Lady's Modesty as a girls doing things show, because it's a music drama. And when I say girls doing things, I have removed the C's from girls doing things, because the traditional name of this subgenre is, of course, cute girls doing cute things. And I have removed the cute part because, in my personal opinion, if girls are doing stuff, it's cute. And also, it doesn't have to be cute. They can just do stuff. I'm aggressive that way. I think that girls can just do whatever, and it doesn't have to be cute. And they don't have to be cute. Maybe Rock is a Lady's Modesty is too psychosexual to be considered a cute girls doing cute things. This episode introduces a character, definitely not psychosexual, but certainly has an aura about her. This is the story about Lilissa. All she wants to do is fucking rock, but she has to pretend to be somebody she's not in a school for privileged ladies, well-to-do ladies, of which she is now unfortunately one of. But she just wants to fucking rock. And she's got a two-piece outfit, a guitar and drum outfit with another girl. They do not have a friendship. They have a partnership in order to play music at each other aggressively and perhaps fall in love. We'll see. But again, I do want to stress that I find this show to be a girls doing things show myself, because it's got girls and they're doing stuff. I need A27. Can't find A27. 31, 25, 26. Oh, 27. There it is. Found it. I found it, everybody. Lots of toxic Yuri in anime lately. Yes, this might even be positive toxic Yuri in this one, because their aggressiveness might actually help each other out. Anyway, so Lilissa is still she's still at school trying to keep her identity a secret. Her stepsister now knows that she has been rocking. Which she is very worried about that discovery. Yes, the girls playing fighting games thing. Yes, that also looks like it might be. You're right. So she has a chance encounter with the vice president of the student council, because she's being scouted for the student council and definitely does not want to do that. But she meets the vice president, who is Tina, and she is the prince. I was just waiting for this. I knew it was coming, everybody. Okay, so this needs to fold up, but I can't get these to fold up, so I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. This is supposed to feed through. And then it's supposed to be able to feed through and bend. And I don't want to push it too much, because I don't want to snap these, because that would be a bummer. But these are supposed to bend. And it tells me that I should put these in like this. And this goes like this. And then I'm supposed to be able to push this through. And then these can bend and... Oh, there we go. Got it. I had to really, really push from the back here more than I wanted to. And then it did fit in. Okay, good. Whew, okay. As always, the biggest fear with that is always just like, well, if I push too much pressure on this, I'm just going to break it. And I don't want to do that. So it looks like Tina might have recognized her. So that causes our girl to flee. Lilisa and Odaha, the drummer, are playing good little tunes here. Some fun back and forth as always with these characters. Really like their whole fucking deal with each other. They get a message from Shiro, who Ota recognizes, and leaves to go meet with Shiro, which is an alias, because they need a bass player and maybe another guitarist or a keyboardist, or they don't want a singer, but they need more people in the band. Lilisa is just practicing by herself, and that's when Tina shows up, the prince. She saw the concert. Too many people saw that concert. But Tina's just like, I would like to join the band because this might be a way for me to get confidence. Because apparently, this whole prince act from this whole thing for Tina is just an act, and she wants to build up her own confidence by being in a fucking rock band, because that sounds pretty cool. Because she's just a facade of the prince. Well, that also means that, hey, guess what? That lack of confidence, that translates to her not being particularly great on the piano for rock music. So that is kind of a dead end there. But meanwhile, Odaha meets Shiro, who is Tamayaki Shiria, who is a well-known bass player, which is what they need, and also she goes to a sister school from the one they're in, so that would be convenient if they are able to get her in the band. I'm sorry, folks, I gotta figure this out. Oh, I put this on the wrong way. It's gotta go this way, right? No. Goes like that. Goes all the way through. And then this needs to layer here. Another thing where I have to press this farther than I want to press this. Yeah, okay, I do. This is another thing where I have to push this more than I would want to. And I don't want to stress the plastic, because this is definitely kind of old plastic, so. Damn, yeah. I'm gonna press this with my jeweler's tweezers here. Damn, dude. Because this needs to go in and be able to fold. Right now it's not able to do that. I'm going to see if I can... I don't want to trim down the plastic at all, but if there's any nubbins, I can get that. Meanwhile, as I said, Tamaki apparently doesn't think that Lilisa can handle as a guitarist, and basically does not want to be in a band with her, which is like, and then also will only join if they perform in a battle of the bands that is happening in 2 weeks, which feels, hey, too soon, because they don't even know about the keyboard player. This is just a bassist and a drummer, and they're like, yeah, let's do a battle of the bands in 2 weeks, which like makes sense because this is episode 6 of an anime, but doesn't make fucking sense for whatever. I guess at a certain point I should just go, well, they're high school students, like what are you gonna do? So they want to join a battle of the bands. I wonder if Lilisa would be interested in a battle of the bands, considering the only time she's performed in front of people, her stepsister and also the vice president of the student council just happened to be there to see music. Because I guess going to that show was okay, but being in a rock band is not. So, yeah, we didn't see a lot of music in this episode, but the introduction of 2 new characters who may or may not fill out the band is interesting. I look forward to seeing what happens with that. Yeah, it's there's some fucking shit going down in this show that I'm here for. Let's panel line the shoulder, which has the parts of our shoulder shield. Won't take much to panel line it, but we will do a little bit of that. We got some time left in the stream here before we go, and of course we will end with a raid because that is end every stream. But while I'm getting, we're getting close to the tail end. Now is the part of the stream where I want to hear from you, friends. What are you watching right now? What are you playing? What are you up to? What are you into? If you're playing any video games, you're watching any anime or TV or movies, reading anything, listening to any music. I always love to hear from you about what you got going on. I will tell you that I did the thing. I mentioned it earlier. I backed up all of Pat Baer's Anime Club. When I changed computers not too long ago, that unfortunately didn't make the change, and I didn't notice it for a long time. So I'm fine with the fact that I don't have the big original files, but I just went on my YouTube and got all 148 episodes of the numbered ones, plus about 5 ones that are bonuses or 0.5s. So I think it was like 150 something videos that I had to go and grab. And now they're all labeled properly and all in there. I used YTDLP and just did a batch file. I did like 3 batch files of it and got all of that backed up. And I'm very happy to say that now all of the series that I did on YouTube have been backed up. The only thing that I don't have backups of, I've had League of Heels stuff. I have my PAX panel stuff. I have all that. One thing that I don't have backed up, which I'm okay with, is the mailbag videos. I'm all right with not having that because again, they're all on YouTube. And Pat Baer's Anime Club is like Pat Baer's Anime Club is like, probably won't ever get taken down because it only has still images. It doesn't have any video, which is where you actually run into problems out there. But there still exists the possibility that, like, Toei will go after images. And I only do anime, I only do manga covers, and I do some stills from anime. But some companies will go after stills from manga. Like there's a stream I did with about like V scrolls, and I'm like, that had some actual photos that could get like copyright striked. But how many terabytes was all your backups? So let's see. My various things folder, which is where it lives, is all my backups currently. Let's just see the properties here. Are currently 79 gigabytes. So under a terabyte of stuff. 79 gigabytes of backgrounded characters, Bear With Me, Bearing the List, Barely Rehearsed, Best of Build with Bear, Do You Remember, Kuma Baer, Pat Baer's Anime Club, and then also packed stuff, which includes 404ing it, Pat Baer's Anime Club live stuff, improvised postmortems, and most League of... Oh, so that's the thing. I don't actually have all the League of Heels shows because other people have archives of that. So I don't really have all the League of Heels stuff saved. That doesn't include normal building and gaming streams. No, John, not at all. Pat Baer's VODs are not... That channel, Pat Baer VODs channel, and the Pat Baer's Build with Bear are... I don't back up live streams. I do not. The only live stream stuff that has been backed up is the Pat Bear's Anime Club live streams that become episodes. So it's definitely no, that I love them. I love this, but I do not need that. You need to build a NAS. Yeah. I love this, but I do not need to have all of this archived, all of these streams archived somewhere. I just don't need it. It would be nice, but I'm not killing myself to get that done. Oh, let's build some feet here while we talk. So I did that. I got all of the Pat Bear's Anime Clubs. You don't need to stream. You have the models. Indeed. Yeah. Some of those also the Pat Bear VODs channel, which I believe is !VODs, does have a thing that I started doing this year, which I didn't do before, and my apologies for that. I made playlists. So every build stream is in a playlist. There's a playlist for build streams, just model kits and Legos. The various games have a playlist, like WW2K25 has a playlist. The most recent Pokemon randomizer has a playlist. Every Pokemon randomizer has its own playlist. Hearthstone playlist, that kind of thing. I decided I was going to do that. Tuesday's stream, Pat Watches Wrestling, will not have a archive because I am not. I'm also going to delete the VOD of that after the stream is over. But I'm not even going to bother uploading that to YouTube because I am going to get a that would immediately get blocked worldwide. Yeah. I would get blocked worldwide immediately because I am going to be showing a match that is on one of the WWE Vault channels. It was not aired on television, but it is in a WWE ring as a house show match, and I'll be showing that on Tuesday. And so I just know that the stuff I'm putting on there, like, there's just no way. Because not all of the stream is going to be dedicated to the legendary, now retired Mako Sakamura, I should say. But we're gonna have some stuff with Mako, including her versus Bailey from the Japan house show that was fucking cool as hell. I did want to include that because I thought it would be neat to include. So we will watch that on what do you call it? On Tuesday. That'll be that stream. Super iPal Wolf famously lost his mind getting the copyright cleared for his most recent wrestling videos. Yes, I do not have the reach. I do not have the desire to do that. And WWE, by blanket, often for video game stuff, they're fine. Even music playing in video game stuff, usually they'll just take a cut, and my VODs channel isn't monetized anyway. But for that kind of thing, if I'm showing a full match, they are just going to block worldwide anyway, and it is not worth it to me to even bother fighting that. So the Tuesday stream will be unarchived, which means because it will be unarchived, I can do more cool shit with it. I can show stuff that I wouldn't otherwise. So we're going to have at least 2 Mako Satomura matches, early in her career and late in her career, and then other stuff, some other classic stuff, a lot of Japanese things. I have to really figure that all out. That's part of my day tomorrow, is figuring out what else is going to be in that stream. I should go back and say that let's see, sorry. John had said, still trying to get caught up on the current ReZero on season 2 part 2. Yeah, I mean, God, there's some fucking shit in that show, in that part of the season 2 and then into season 3. Goddamn. Playing some Atelier Yumina and Xenoblade Chronicles X as my life schedule permits. I really want to get Skin Deep. That's on my wish list. That's the next game I'm going to purchase. Partially because it just seems fucking cool, and also because they are peaches. which means that the makers of that game, like the Flophouse, which is a podcast about bad movies. It is part of the Maximum Fun Network, and I know those folks that make that podcast, and they the Skin Deep folks paid for an ad read about the game, which means that they're floppers, and that made me very happy. And I was like, damn, now I really need to get that fucking game because they advertise on the podcast that I like, and they know that podcast. And I was like, oh man, all right, that's awesome. So I gotta represent. Let's see. Building a NAS. Get Brad to build a NAS. No. No. Let's see. What do you think of the top? What do you think of how over the top they are going with ads on the Ring now? Yeah, I don't care. I've never given a shit about ads on the Ring. More wrestling companies should do that. It's wrestling. Like, a much smaller company, of course, but Sendai Girls, or Senjo, as they are often referred to, but Sendai Girls are often heavily sponsored by a tire company. Like, a tire company sponsors a small Sendai-based wrestling promotion. I do not give a shit about promotions. It just all blends in. I don't care, you know? If I don't care about the WWE logo on their belts, I certainly don't care about their turnbuckles having ads on them. It's like, yeah, I don't care. Like, if I can watch fucking AAA and their LED commercial for a mobile game that just runs throughout the entire fucking show in blinding light, I can handle a fucking Prime water ad. You know? Like, God. They could be so much worse, and I'd also probably be fine with that. Really bummed a lot of 2010s YouTube got thrown to the sun. Yeah, a lot of stuff is gone, and it's tough. Yes, there are wrestlers, independent wrestlers who had ads on their fucking gear, like their Formula One drivers, or I mean, yeah, like NASCAR drivers. Let's be real. Yeah, I mean, just like I don't care. Like, independent wrestling allows they encourage and really hope that a match will be presented by such and such. Tokyo Joshi does they've done yearly things where they have a tournament where you, like, the winner of the tournament gets like skincare products or a big bag of rice. There's a tournament every year sponsored by a rice company, and the winner gets a giant, a man in a suit comes at the end of the ring and hands a young lady a giant bag of rice, and then they pose for photos that gets written up in pro wrestling magazines. Like, man, it's like, whatever. Wrestling does not have any sanctity because it is low art. It's not bad art, but it's low art, and I'm always okay with that. Get fucking paid. I've watched season 2 of Detroiters. That was great. Oh yeah, Lord Crashing, you've been watching Detroiters. I know that. Yes, there's also the yelling guy in that. Totally. Yes. How dare you? Sting's retirement was high art. Man. It's all, you know, it's entertainment, and sometimes it's fucking gorgeous and beautiful, and sometimes it's like incredible and amazing, and nightmarish and gory and bloody and funny. Sometimes one of the hardest men in professional wrestling the world over will decide he wants to be in a wrestling match that's been taking place for an hour, and then his the towel he wore to the wrestling match, will be used to choke out someone. and that person will have a belt that is defended 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the towel won the belt, not the wrestler, one of the hardest men in wrestling. His towel will win a belt, and then that towel will get pinned and lose the belt. He won't win the belt, the towel will win. Sometimes a ladder will fall on someone and pin them 1, 2, 3. A belt has won a belt in DDT. Wrestling is gorgeous and nonsense. Yeah. Yes, and it's wonderful and wild. Sometimes a referee from a different company will win a belt and then will be hypnotized by the first champion of that belt and lose that belt. Bryce Remsburg is a DDT champion on record, on the books. Multiple friends of mine have held that title. I think I know 7 people who have been a champion of that title with that title. Ridiculous. Unbelievably ridiculous that I've known. Now I believe the number is up to 7 that have held that belt. Unbelievable. Wrestling is incredibly dumb, and I do love it. Yeah, sometimes everyone in the ring just has a flashback. Sometimes, and I'm going to be watching this tomorrow, there are 3 women in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling with the first name Yuki, and they're having a trios match. And the referee has Yuki in his name, specifically because Yuki Aino and Yuki Arai and Yuki Kamiyu, Kamiyu, are having a trios match for the first time. They've only tagged the 3 of them together once, and the crowd yelled Yuki, and all 3 acknowledged each person that yelled Yuki, because wrestling fucking rules sometimes. But yeah, this happened last week, but I haven't watched it yet, but I'm watching it tomorrow. I'm going to watch Yuki versus Yuki versus Yuki, and I can't fucking wait for it. Yes. Sometimes that happens. Yeah, sometimes people come out to Teenage Dirtbag, and then we just plays them on Teenage Dirtbag. Yeah. Wrestling is fucking wild and weird sometimes. It's great. I mean, it fucking sucks sometimes too, but sometimes it's great. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up the stream. We've been going for 2 hours. That's good. I feel good about that. What's going to happen next? You might be asking yourself. Well, we're going to go on a raid, because that is how we end every stream here. We always end with a raid. We're going to go find someone doing cool stuff out there that we want to go spend some time with. I hand select all the people we raid. Sometimes they're almost done with their stream for the night, and that's a bummer. But sometimes they've got hours left of their stream, and it'll be very fun. Let's see. Who is doing that? Okay, that's not, we don't want to do that. How long has... Often on Saturdays, we raid my friend Liz. I think we're probably going to raid... Oh, actually... You know what? What am I even fucking doing? What am I even thinking about? We're going to raid Giant Bomb forever. Why wouldn't we do that? We're going to go hang out and watch we're going to go hang out in Giant Bomb forever to celebrate Giant Bomb. Because right now it is an Unprofessional Fridays episode is playing. And Vinny is in VR. Vinny is in VR, so at an Unprofessional Friday, so we're going to go see that fucking shit. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday, great weekend. I'll be back on Monday. I'm going to continue working on this. We're going to build some legs on this kit. I might finish it. I should probably do a poll tomorrow to see what I'm building next, because I might finish this kit up on Monday's stream. Thank you all so much for being here. Hope you have a great rest of your night. Thanks for coming along on this raid. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Good.